Lee Corso freaking retiring. I don't know, man. I don't know how to
Oh, is
feel
that
about
right?
it.
Finally.
Yeah, he retired today. Yeah, I mean, he looked pretty out of it the last few seasons of College Game Day, but
I haven't watched College Game Day in years, so I don't know.
yeah, neither have I. Being on a weekend shift, I don't get to watch that type of stuff no
Yeah.
more. So. But, dude, we're recording if you want to start already.
All right, let's start it here. Welcome to the podcast. My name is Jaaron with my good friend Zach. Zach, say hi.
Hello.
And this is our podcast where we spend about an hour of our lives discussing, debating, ultimately ranking movies of a particular category. This week, we are going through our favorite comedies. Now, we've broken this down into two different segments. So this week, we'll be going number 20 through 11, and next week, we'll do our top 10. And this week, cross all that out. This week, we're doing our
sorry,
favorite
that was a chilly
comedies
whisper.
again. Blah, blah, blah. Our podcast is The Average Jives because we're just a couple of friends who love to debate and discuss and talk about movies. We don't claim to be the smartest guys or actual critics, but we're just a couple average jives talking about movies. So here we go.
Yep.
Let's dive right in here. My first movie that I chose is Maverick.
Yes.
Coming out in 1994. This is one of Zach and my favorites. One of our go-to movies, time and time again when we hook up.
Yep.
Starring Mel Gibson, Jodie Foster, James Garner, and Alfred Molina. It was directed by Richard Donner, who did all the Lethal Weapons, The Goonies, The Toy, things of that nature. And written by our boy William Goldman. And actually another writer credit of Roy Huggins, who did the TV series back in the 50s.
No, okay. Oscar winning.
Maverick, if you haven't seen it, Oscar winning William Goldman, exactly. For those who haven't seen this, poker player Brett Maverick is on his way to the poker game of his life in St. Louis when he gets sidetracked by friends and foes alike. Roger Ebert gave this movie 3 out of 4 stars, saying it's fun, although at 129 minutes, the movie is probably a little too long. He does talk about the charm of its movies, the parallels to the TV series, but ultimately he questions if there is even a fan base for it because it did come out in the 50s and this movie came out in 1994.
Yeah.
Good parallel of it, though. James Garner, who is one of the stars of the movie, actually played the titular character Maverick in the 1950s TV show. We're dead sober.
Yeah, that was one of those movies where whenever Jaaron was back from college or whatever, and I had when I was home on leave or R&R or something, we always had to take time to watch that movie.
Always had to take time.
Yep.
It was a good hangover movie too. Zach and I would stay up drinking all night, and we'd wake up and just look at each other like, "Want to watch Maverick again?"
Yeah, well, yeah, we're trying to recover, trying to convince my folks to make us breakfast and shit. But
yeah, we had kind of a lousy year.
Yeah, nothing left to hunt. Yeah, that's a movie we could quote all fucking day. But
exactly.
But yeah, the first one on my list is 4-Year-Old Virgin from 2005. It was written and directed by Judd Apatow with a Steve Carell assist. Apatow started working with he started writing for Ben Stiller and Larry Sanders before he wrote one of our a movie that we loved growing up again, that honestly I still think has aged well and it's freaking hilarious, and that's Heavyweights. He was one of the writers on Heavyweights. Yeah, and he also was one of the writers on Freaks and Geeks, which catapulted the careers of the likes of James Franco, Seth Rogen, who appears in this movie, and also Linda Cardellini.
Jason Segel.
Stars. What's up, bro?
Jason Segel.
Yeah, and Jason Segel. Shit, I forgot to write him down. Yeah. Thanks, dude. This movie is starring Steve Carell, which I quote the show, which I mean, I almost always have an Office quote for every episode, every podcast we do. We'll see if one pops out or one comes up during this episode. But yeah, he was Michael Scott on The Office, and it Also stars Paul Rudd, Seth Rogen, Romani Malco, and Catherine Keener. It's about a 40-year-old man with the help of his three bro workers who sets out to lose his virginity. Pretty straightforward synopsis,
Hmm.
short, simple. And Ebert and Roper gave this film their two thumbs up rating. Roger Ebert said, I was surprised by how funny, how sweet, and how wise the movie really is. And the more you think about it, the better the 40-year-old virgin gets. Even the criticism of the film weren't bad. And that's just, and, I mean, we've, but we talked before even airing this pod that Ebert wasn't a huge fan of comedies, but that's saying something when he sings praise about a comedy. But Ebert also described it as the way
Yeah,
Catherine Keener,
Ebert was notorious for not liking some of the best comedies, and just, yeah, sometimes not the greatest sense of humor. Roger Ebert, great critic, as you all know. Listening, I always use Roger Ebert as my guy with the critic review of it. But yeah, famously just giving really good comedy movies low ratings.
yeah, yeah. But yeah, that really sums it up. He said the final piece of that uh, review was that Catherine Keener was almost her and Andy, the Steve Carell character. It was almost too sweet to be funny, I guess. But that's all I got for 4-Year-Old
Yeah,
Virgin, Jaren.
yeah, we'll discuss more of that as we go along. The next one on my list, Anchorman. I chose this
Yes.
one to talk about next because a lot of the same actors in that movie as this movie. Anchorman also came out 2004, starring Will Ferrell, Christina Applegate, Steve Carell, Paul Rudd. The directorial debut from Adam McKay, who
Mhm.
fans of comedy movies will all know: Talladega Nights, Step Brothers, Other Guys, The Big Short, Don't Look Up. One of our best comedy directors we have nowadays. Written by Will Ferrell and Adam McKay. A little bit
Yeah.
about this movie. If you've been living under a rock for the last 20 years and haven't seen Anchorman, it is about an anchorman in 1970 San Diego gets a new co-anchor who he also falls in love with, that leads to ridiculous, satirical, comedic antics.
Yes.
Roger Ebert, very surprisingly, after the conversation we just had about him, gave this movie 3 out of 4 stars. Says
Wow,
it
that
has a
was pretty high
yeah,
for
says it
Raj.
has a
Yeah.
kind of sweetness to it. Like, it's similar to the likes of This Is Spinal Tap. It works best when it's only a degree or two removed from the excesses of the real thing. He went on to go about, the parallels between real life and comedy. He thinks that's kind of the funniest when it is. That also would kind of make sense as to why he gave 40-Year-Old Virgin a high rating as well, because Roger does like this when they bring in real life stuff. He's not big on far fetched cliche comedies. So Anchorman, my second movie.
That kind of makes me think rethink my ranking already. Shit. But yeah, we'll get to it. We'll get to it. My next movie is Get Shorty in 1995, directed by Barry Sonnenfeld. He's probably most well known for the Men in Black franchise and the Addams Family. He
Hmm,
started out actually as a cinematographer for porn features, and once
nice.
he at one time had a passion project about the porn industry, only to be let down after discovering and upon the release of a film by a young director named Paul Thomas Anderson, had who had already made such a film about such a topic, and that movie was, you can guess, Jaren.
Boogie Nights.
That's it, man. He was pretty bummed out, but then again,
Hmm.
PTA made a great movie about the porn industry, so I don't think he was more sad that he couldn't make another attempt at it, I suppose. But
Yeah, and I'm sure PTA's version of it was much better than anything Barry could have done.
yeah,
Boogie
not to
Nights
say,
is Boogie
yeah,
Nights
not,
is one of the classics. That'll come up in some of our later pods for sure.
yes, yeah. and it is based on the book by Elmore Leonard. I've actually read a couple of his books, including Touch, which that was also made into a movie, but I haven't seen that one. And it was written
Hmm.
by Frank. The screenplay was by Frank Scott, which some of his credits include another Elmore Leonard book called Out of Sight. I don't. Are you a fan of that movie,
Oh
JJ?
yeah.
Or yeah, I've
Oh yeah.
I honestly I haven't seen it. I haven't seen it. I'm not gonna
Oh.
lie. But Scott also wrote Minority Report, which was directed by Spielberg, and his most recent hit was Logan, based on it was just another DC or
Oh yeah.
I don't know
Yeah.
which
The
one. I don't
Wolverine.
know which one X Men is. Is it DC or Marvel? But just
DC.
another one of those sequels. But yeah, and he actually kept a lot of the dialogue that Leonard had in the book, which I think was a wise choice. And he actually said this was his favorite film adaptation of any book that he's written, including
Hmm.
including a Tarantino made film, Jackie Brown. So it kind of says something when he kind of high praise for how well Get Shorty was made. But it's
Yeah, definitely. And again, this is another one of Zach and I's go-to movies.
yeah, and yeah, we'll get to it when we rate it. I'll talk about the research that went into this movie and shit. But it's starring John Travolta, Gene Hackman, Rene Russo, with Dennis Farina and Danny DeVito. And I always forget that DeVito was one of the executive producers of this project. But it's about a movie-loving
Hmm.
mobster who travels to LA to collect a debt only to find himself in the early stages of a pre-production. Turns out the movie business is just as dirty as loan sharking. And I'm going to go back to another Roger Ebert critique. One of the pleasures of Get Shorty is watching the way the plot moves effortlessly from crime to the movies. Not a long distance, since both industries are based on fear, greed, creativity, and intimidation. Elmer Leonard's characters may exist in the device of society, but they are smart and verbal and don't take forever to get to the point. He gave it he gave it 3.5 out of 4 stars actually,
Wow.
which
Yeah. And you're gonna love this. Another fucking moron.
oh, that's another
It's a
quote.
quote from Get Shorty for those who don't know that quote.
As you can see, it
Next
makes
on
us
my
laugh
list,
every time. Yeah, it makes us laugh every
every
time.
every fucking time, every time. Next on my list, the lovable Tommy Boy,
Oh yeah,
released in 1995. Chris Farley, David Spade, Rob Lowe, Bo Derek, and Brian Dennehy star in this comedy. I believe it was one of the first SNL movies, or at least produced by
yeah,
what's
I
his
think
face from
so.
SNL.
Oh, Michael, is it Laurie or what am I
Yeah,
thinking?
Michael Laurie.
Yeah,
I don't think we got that first name right, but we'll come back to that. Uh,
we probably mixed two different names. We combined the two names probably.
Tommy Boy was directed by Peter Segal, who also did another one of Zach and I's favorite movie, My Fellow Americans.
Yes.
He went on to also direct 50 First Dates, Anger Management, and The Longest Yard. So, as you can see from that list, he is an affinity for Adam Sandler.
Mhm.
Written by Bonnie and Terry Turner, who will come up again in just a minute when I do my next film. And Roger Ebert. Here we go. This is what we were talking about earlier. 1 out of 4 stars.
Ouch.
A little bit about them, or I guess Roger's quote from his review: an assembly of cliches and obligatory scenes from dozens of other movies. And then he goes on to list 7 cliches that Tommy Boy check marks, including kid returning from college, an unexpected mother, company in trouble, kid to save the day, evil stepmother, road movie, and buddy movie. So if you break it down like that, yes, Tommy Boy is full of cliches, but this is one of the one of the funniest movies when I was growing up.
Yeah.
Also, if you have not seen the movie and don't know what it's about, son of an auto parts tycoon, Tommy Callahan must go on the road as a salesman to save the company and its town folk. Also dear to my heart because it's Well, it's not shot in, but it's set in the town of Sandusky, Ohio. And for those who listening who don't know, I was born in Ohio, and I have affinity for that very boring state.
Yeah, yeah. Me and Raj just aren't on the same page with your movies, dude. I have Tommy Boy
No,
a lot higher than the his
yeah.
review
Well,
may indicate, but
like like we said, he's infamously not a good reviewer of comedies that a lot of people like. Even though actually it's been surprisingly a couple of high rankings for some of our movies already.
yeah, yeah. Next on my list is Major League, which is what is playing in the background right now that I have on. It is written and directed by David S. Ward, who wrote the screenplay to one of my favorite movies of all time, The Sting, which we covered in previous pods. And he was also the writer director to one of my favorite sports movies, The Program, which
Hmm.
I don't know if you ever got into that movie, Jaaron, but that might have been a me and Matisse thing. We used to watch that a
See
lot
that?
back in the
That says Adidas.
day. I told him that.
Oh yeah, the
Dude, we,
program.
we
Yeah,
are all
I
yeah,
got it.
we are just quoting like a motherfucker this episode, dude. Which it's to be
It's comedy
expected.
movies. Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
but it's starring Tom Berenger and Charlie Sheen, Corbin Burnson with Wesley Snipes as well. Berenger and Sheen had just starred in a very different, completely different kind of movie a few years earlier in Oliver Stone's Platoon, and Burnson is in one of our favorite Christmas movies, Jaron, Kiss Kiss Bang Bang. I go back to it every year, and I'm sure you do too.
Oh, nice. Yeah,
Yeah,
definitely.
it's with the resistance and sabotage from the former showgirl and new owner of the Cleveland Indians, a group of nobodies and once upon a time misfit baseball players attempt the unthinkable to win the whole fucking thing. And from the variety staff, this is what they had to say about Major League. It lacks the subtlety of Bull Durham or the drama of Eight Men Out, but for sheer crowd pleasing fun, it belts one high into the left field bleachers. Very nice critique from
Definitely.
the variety staff. So
Definitely. And again, we've said it several times, another one of Zach and I's go to movies and ones that we quote every other day.
oh, and it ain't just us, man. Every baseball season, you hear people quote Major League whenever
Oh,
baseball comes.
definitely.
Yeah, this is probably another one that I watch yearly, just right before baseball season or right before the playoffs or something.
Yeah, it really gets your blood going too, especially that last scene. But we'll dive into all that here later.
oh, oh yeah, it's your
Next on
turn.
my list, Wayne's World, who or the movie that I actually have playing in the background right now, as our listeners are familiar. Each of us normally have one of the movies that we're talking about playing in the
Hmm.
background on mute. Wayne's World came out in 1992, starring Seth Meyers, Dana Carvey, Rob Lowe, Tia Carrere, and based upon the SNL sketch that Mike Myers did of Wayne's World. Directed by Penelope Spheris, who also did Beverly Hillbillies, Little Rascals, and Black Sheep. Couldn't really find too many other things she directed. And then famously said Mike Myers was just a complete headache to work with on this movie.
I read that
It,
too. Yeah.
yeah, seems like Mike Myers is kind of a pain in the ass. His vision of the movie and what the directors and producers wanted may have been on different hemispheres of the earth, but turned out to be a hell of a movie. Very funny. Written obviously by Mike Myers with another previously mentioned couple, Bonnie and Terry Turner, who did Tommy Boy, Wayne's World 2, and they were actually the creators of that 70s show and Third Rock from the Sun.
Oh wow, nice.
Again, a little bit about the movie. Two friends on cable access get sponsored and hit the quote unquote big time, which leads to antics and hilarity. Like I said earlier, based on the SNL sketch that Mike Myers famously started. And Roger Ebert, again, we've mentioned that he's not very high on comedies, but surprisingly gave this movie 3 out of 4 stars.
Damn. Woo.
I know, he said, and quote, walked in expecting dumb, vulgar comedy and got plenty of it, but also found genuinely amusing, sometimes downright intelligent undercurrents.
Oh, good for
And yeah,
Roger.
just a complete lovable movie. I'm watching the movie now, and it got the subtitles on, and I mean, almost every line from this movie is a banger, and ones that I still say around younger people that they just don't get.
Right over their heads, dude.
Yeah, I don't own a gun.
Yeah, see, I
I'll
think
talk.
you're a much bigger fan of this movie than I am, but
Oh,
whatever. I
love it.
mean, it's still funny, but it's just I know you quote it a lot more than I do, but
Definitely, it's got some of my favorite quotes that we'll get into a little bit later.
yeah. But the next film on my list is Some Like It Hot from 1959, directed by Billy Wilder, one of my favorite directors, who's directed a number of classics and influential films of all genre, including a film Jaaron and I enjoy quite a bit, which is Double Indemnity. Uh, one of the
Hmm.
greats in Sunset Boulevard and the Academy Award winning Best Picture, The Apartment. I'm sure we'll discuss all three of those movies eventually on the podcast.
Definitely, definitely.
Screenplay was also written by Billy Wilder and I.A.L. Diamond, who later wrote The Apartment with Wilder. It's starring Jack Lemmon, Tony Curtis, and Marilyn Monroe. It has. I mean, had you seen this movie before,
I have
Jaron? Or
not.
okay, uh, for any of those who hadn't, I mean, it came out in 1959, but it's about two band members who skip town after witnessing the St. Valentine's Day Massacre, joining another band, but there's one problem. It's an all girl band. I actually have two reviews because they were so short, so I was able to fit two of them in from Josh McCartan of The New Yorker, and this was out of a review shortly after the film was released. Referred to the film as a jolly, carefree enterprise, and Richard Roud, who wrote back in 1967 for The Guardian, called it close to perfection. And I'm not saying I have it where it should be, but a lot of people do consider this to be the greatest comedy of all time. But we'll see where it's on the list. We'll see
Hmm.
where we put it on. We'll see where we place it.
Yeah, and unfortunately, I wasn't able to watch it because it's only streaming on certain services that I don't have. I'm aware of the movie, did some little bit of research of the movie, but not seen it. So I know that's always a little contentious part of this pod, especially how can I argue for or against something that I haven't seen. But I am aware of its allure and its status within mainstream of the 1950s.
Yeah, yeah.
Next on my list, another older movie, Monty Python and the Holy Grail, released in 1975, starring Graham Chapman, Eric Idle, John Cleese, and Terry Gilliam. Also directed by the actor Terry Gilliam and written by its entire cast. Monty Python and all of their movies are always written by the cast, directed by Terry Gilliam. Most of them are. And this particular one is about King Arthur and the knights embark on a silly satirical mission to obtain the Holy Grail. If you're not familiar with Monty Python, all of them are very satirical. And honestly, Roger Ebert had no review of this movie.
Hmm.
I know, very interesting. But a little bit of research about it. It's said to believe, critics and fans alike make mention that Monty Python movies have been compared to the Beatles in the sense of the influence they've had on comedy, or such as the Beatles' influence on music. It did win the 1988 BAFTA Award for Outstanding British Contribution to Cinema, and people in Hollywood, such as Ricky Gervais, Will Ferrell, many countless others, have said that they probably would not exist or be in their line of work if it were not for Monty Python.
Hmm. Yeah. I mean, I can see it. I can see it. We'll get into it a little bit more once we start ranking them. Damn it. Got to clear my throat. My bad. This should be the last movie, right?
Yeah, this is the last one.
All right. The last one I have is Tropic Thunder out of 2008, directed by Ben Stiller, known actor Ben Stiller. In front of the camera, I understand during this movie it was all fun and games, being a comedy and all, but behind the scenes, I know he took the production very seriously, and I think you can tell. It was written by Ben Stiller, Judd Thorough, I don't know how to pronounce his name, and Eton Cohen. Honestly, for years I misread the credits thinking it was Ethan Cohen, but that wasn't the case. But
Oh,
whatever. Yeah, it was missing a few letters and adding a few, but whatever. My bad. It was my bad. I'm kind of dyslexic, so whatever. The film is starring Ben Stiller himself, Jack Black, Robert Downey Jr., and Brandon T. Jackson, with insane cameos and small parts from Nick Nolte, Tom Cruise, and Matthew McConaughey. If I'm going to mention those, I'll have to mention a few uh, that kind of went on to do well in television and such, like Danny McBride, uh, Jay. Oh crap, I can't pronounce his last name. Barshell,
yep.
Baruchel. Yeah, and also
Jay
Bill
Rena's
Hader.
not here.
Yeah, it's a parody of both
Yeah, I
Hollywood
mean
and
the
war.
cameos in that movie just go on and on.
Yeah, yeah. It's a parody of both Hollywood and war genres. Five actors set out to make the greatest war movie ever made, but find themselves in an actual war zone. Uh, there was kind of a Yeah, as you can imagine, people started getting a little sensitive around this time, so there was a lot of mixed reviews and people got offended and shit. But Dan Anson of Newsweek said Tropic Thunder is the funniest movie of the summer. So funny, in fact, that you start laughing before the film itself begins, which with the fake freaking
Yeah, fake
all the
previews.
fake previews and infomercials or commercials and shit. Oh god, me and Dad saw this in the theater. We both looked at each other because the very first one is the pussy juice one, and me and Dad were like, "What the fuck was that?"
Yeah, like can I find that at the concession stand?
Dude, oh man, it was a good time though. That was a good movie to take my dad to. But
Yeah,
yeah, that's it,
definitely.
dude. That's all I got.
Those are the 10 of 20 through 11 that we have here. And for those who don't know, we'll probably do this for at least a couple more episodes, kind of going through the format of the podcast here. Zach and I each pick 5 movies according to the category. In this case, we picked 10 and we've broken it down into 2 segments. And then we each introduce the 5 that we picked, and then we dive into our rankings. So Zach has made his top 10 ranking. I've made my top 10 ranking of the movies. And then when we dive in deep, we will agree upon and most likely sometimes disagree upon where we're gonna finally cast or where we're finally gonna rank them. But at the end of the pod, we do finally come up with our top 10, and then we'll go over because it does kind of get lost in translation as we kind of move them around in rankings.
Yeah.
So, and we normally start with our first 9s and 10s. We'll debate about each one and where we have them. If the other one has the other one higher up, that's part of the charm of the pod here. So, Zach, since I introduced first, what do you have for your 10 and 9?
Well, I'm just gonna say this before we start, and it wasn't
Oh, yeah, yeah.
intentional, but all of our genres are parodies of other genres. Like with Get Shorty
Yeah.
covers like our mob movie, Tropic Thunder's our war movie, Wayne's World's our
Yeah.
musical, Maverick's the western. That wasn't intentional, at least on my end, but it turned out it worked
No,
out that
no,
way.
not at all. And no, and we talked about this before we started recording too. It's um, we each kind of rank our movies and then, we watch the movies and we kind of go through in our head, and I made probably 8 different revisions of this top 10 list. And it's tough. Comedy, like we said before we started recording, this is our pod. It's our sense of humors. So it's going to be our ranking ultimately. And I got to tell you, I don't think I'm going to fight too much on
No,
on
well,
this ranking. I mean, I think I had every single movie ranked at one particular spot and then have moved each and every one of them around. So
And yeah, I'm the same way. I'm not going to be too. I think I mentioned I might be stubborn about one movie, and I'm pretty confident that you're going to have it in the same within one or two spots from where I have it. So, but yeah, I'm going to start out, and Jaren, it might surprise you, but I got Anchorman at 9.
Wow,
I know,
that
I
does
know.
that
It's
is
just,
pretty surprising.
and the only reason I say that is because of how like over the top it was. Like I think out of all the movies we have on this list, it's like intentionally trying to be stupid, and I think
Yeah,
that's yeah. I think
I think it's. I mean,
that's yeah, that's my
besides
main
Monty
reason.
Python, I
Yeah,
think
that
besides
one
Monty
too.
Python on this list, and arguably Tropic Thunder, it's definitely the most satirical.
Yeah, yeah.
It's, I mean, there. I don't think there's, in most of these movies that we have, there's at least some semblance of storyline and some sort of serious plot point that they kind of touch on a little bit. Again, maybe not Monty Python or Tropic Thunder, but I actually just watched this earlier today, Anchorman, and it's it was one of the movies I watched in high school over and over and over again,
We both did, dude. Yeah, we were at
and
the
it's
same
so
parties
fucking.
watching
I
it
mean,
sometime. Dude.
it's so funny. Like,
Well, and you might not remember, but it was after baseball practice. Me and a couple of the guys went and saw it, and I think you asked me how it was, and I was like, dude, that's the dumbest fucking movie I've ever watched in my life. But the thing is,
yeah,
I couldn't stop quoting it. And even like I was saying how everything was pungent. Like, oh, that hit was
yeah,
pungent. Your pops is like,
kind of a
dude,
big deal.
that has to do with a sense of smell. That doesn't make any sense. And
No, not
I
at
think it
all.
was yeah, I think it was you that like, dude, I don't know why you're quoting it so much if you hated it. And I was like, I don't know, man. I guess it's just it was more funny than I thought. And then once it came out on DVD, we were like, yeah, it was that was like the go-to movie on those parties we went to, you know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, and it's again watching it. I mean, there's so many quotes, and I hadn't watched it for years, and I'm sitting there saying the quote right along with the movie, and it's. I mean, it's just so like the glass case of emotion. How many times do we say that just fucking randomly? And 60% of the time it works every time.
That one is
That doesn't
still
make
quoted
sense.
at work. Yeah, that's
Like,
still quoted at work quite a bit. So yeah, that's
know your brick. No, I'm Brian.
oh shit.
And I think it was kind of important. I mean, it's certainly important in modern comedy movies because it was the directorial debut for Adam McKay,
Yeah, yeah, and
and
he's
Will Ferrell had done. Will Ferrell had been. I think he had done Elf and Old School and Superstar before this, but like this was his. Old School, yeah, was a very like okay, this guy is pretty funny. He wasn't the main character in that, and then
no, no,
Elf obviously launched him to a whole different realm. But this also, kind of launched Steve Carell and Paul Rudd as
yeah, for
comedy
sure, dude.
actors.
Yeah, yeah,
Paul Rudd had been in a couple of bit things, Clueless, but he wasn't saying absolutely ridiculous shit like he wasn't here. And
hmm
Steve Carell was, I mean, I might have come out of that movie the first time like that dude is fucking. He plays complete stupid in the movie. Everything
he
he says is
does.
so
Oh man,
dumb. Like
yeah.
I killed a man with a trident.
Brick killed a guy.
And I love lamp. I don't know how many times I've said I love lamp. Like, do you really love lamp? Or are you just saying that because it's here in the room? I
But
love lamp.
that's also like why I put it where I did because I was like, dude, that's fucking stupid. Like it doesn't make
It's
any
so
sense.
stupid,
But it's so.
but
But
it's
like
so
you said,
funny.
you can't help but quote it, dude. You can't.
Yeah,
But
it's
I
hilarious.
al-
And I had it pretty high up. I actually had it at 4.
oh shit, made it all the way up there, huh? Damn.
Yeah, just because it's. I mean, if we're doing comedy movies, it's. I mean, for people in our generation, that how could you go through a day in high school without quoting that movie? You couldn't.
No, you're right. You're right. You're right. But I'll I'm sure.
But
I'm
again,
pretty
this one I
confident.
think this might be the hardest one we've ever done in terms of
Yeah.
ranking. I mean, it's just going to be again, like I said before, we do have very similar senses of humor, but it's not everybody's cup of tea. And I will agree, it's fucking stupid in a lot of ways.
Well, I'll give you my 9 and see where it's at, and then we'll kind of start from
You said
there.
you said you had Anchorman at 9.
No, I had Anchorman at 10.
Oh, you had Anchorman. I can't. Okay.
Yeah,
Well,
but
what'd you have at 9 then?
I had Some Like It Hot, which that kind of
Okay.
goes against. Oh, it's the greatest comedy of all time, and it is fun. It's a very well made movie. It's a Billy Wilder movie. I mean, he wrote it, he directed
Right.
it. I mean, Jack Lemmon and Toby Curtis are freaking awesome in it, but it's just the humor hasn't aged very well. Now the storyline
Yeah.
has, because so many freaking dudes want to be chicks now. So I mean that's aged well, but the comedy itself hasn't. So that's why I kind of put it at
Yeah.
9. I'm sure
Let's
since you
not get us canceled before we even get started, Zach. Watch it.
oh shit. I mean we're two
Okay.
dudes not trying to pretend to be anything else, you know.
No, and and like I mentioned, I wasn't able to watch it. I'm aware of the movie. I watched some clips that I was able to find. It's funny, right? Like, but the
Yeah.
whole
Yeah.
premise of joining a band, an all ladies band, as two men, it's problem some. I guess it could be problematic in today's world. It was made 60 some years ago, 70 years ago, so I
Yeah.
don't think we could take into that. But I actually had that at 10. So
Oh, you did. Yeah, that's fine. I'm okay with putting it there. What did So we have Some Like It Hot at 10 already. What
yep.
did you have at 9?
Um, and again, I'm going against what I kind of said in the lead up and the introductions of the movie, because Monty Python is pretty influential into a lot of different comedies, and I don't think
Mm-hmm.
comedy would be where it would be in today's world without it. I actually had it at 9.
Nope, that's fine, dude. I had it at 6, but the reason I
Okay.
had it at 6 was out of its reputation. I didn't because I
Right.
mean, it was as I was watching it, I would laugh and I was like, dude, god damn, man, you guys are you're letting it go too long. You
Yeah,
should cut it off
exactly.
like a couple seconds or a couple sentences prior to
Yeah,
that. If you would
a
have
couple
cut
of
that,
lines prior. They just
yeah,
kept going and
yeah.
going and going. And,
And which
again, I've had it revision. So, like, I had Monty Python in the top 5. I also had Some Like It Hot in the top 5 when I started. And then I'm
mhm,
going through the movies, and I'm going through all the quotes that you and I quote all the time, and what actually made me laugh. I
mhm,
think these two movies would probably make me laugh the least out of all of
yeah,
our picks.
yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
it would be a chuckle kind of a thing, like, "Oh, that's so dumb." Like, yeah, good one. And like you said, they just keep going on and on and on.
You definitely feel a lot of Family Guy in that, except Family Guy makes it work.
Yeah,
I don't think Monty
yeah,
Python
exactly.
did actually.
Well, and that's the thing, because Family Guy does cut it off. They do the cutaways where it's one line sometimes, or even one
Yeah,
word sometimes, and then they just move on like it never happened. So what do you think at 9? Do you want to put Anchorman, or I would prefer Monty Python, but
yeah, yeah, yeah. We can put Python at 9. That's fine.
okay. Well, then I had Anchorman up at 4. You had it at 10, so I guess 8 would be a decent compromise. Again, I'm not going to argue a lot on these, because we could
Which
put
I mean,
a majority of these in the top 5.
yeah. Well, I guess what
So
did you
we'll
have at
put
8 before we?
Anchorman coming in at 8. Which
Okay. I mean, I yeah, it's I had
sadly I had Major League.
whoa, dude, that's the one where I'm like, fuck no, dude. That's the one I was talking
I
about that
know,
I was gonna be stubborn about. Like this one is not just
but
one
it
of
it's
our we laugh at this one like a motherfucker, and not just us, but it's like
it's
probably one of the most famous comedies, but not just comedies, but sports movies ever. So like you combine
it
all
is, and
those, I
that's
mean it's
that.
yeah.
Well, that's kind of the argument I was using against it, is because it does have a pretty decent love story mixed in there. And rewatching it, it's like, you know, let's just get back to the funny. Let's get back to the team. I don't need to watch Tom Berenger fucking stalk this chick for for
Yeah,
10 minutes. He follows her around, and he calls her, and
it's
he
kind of
finds it. So it's
unhealthy.
like, yeah,
Yeah.
and it is a sports movie. If we were going to do sports movies, I think I would rank it up higher. But again, going through these and going through my laughter factor, yeah, you and I laugh at it, but it drags in some points. It's a sports movie. It's got the love story that, revisiting it, I'm not very high on. Where did you ultimately have Major League? At one?
Yeah, I had it at one, motherfucker. Where else would I put
Damn.
it? Dude,
No
God, like
shit.
I just, well, and not just that, but I mean, it's not, as I said earlier, just a little bit ago, like this movie is in most people's top 10 greatest comedies of all time. I just don't know
Mm,
how, I, yeah. I mean, we don't have to put it at one. That's part of the pod, but I mean,
yeah. Well, top three, I'm okay with, obviously,
okay, okay.
because I do love
Then
this
okay,
movie.
okay.
I quote, especially you and I, we quote it all the time. It's got a ton of quotable parts. I just, rewatching it drags a little bit in certain time. I think the ending is a little, she like runs onto the field. Like, what? That's not funny. Like, let's. I guess in my sense of humor now, I do like the more ridiculous.
Yeah,
Watching,
sometimes.
watch
Yeah,
some of these, like Tropic Thunder is fucking ridiculous, and Anchorman's fucking ridiculous, and I laugh. That's funny. And Major League is more of a put together movie. I'll say that it's more of a complete movie, I think, than any other of these, except for maybe 40-Year-Old Virgin.
that's true. Yeah, that's true. Okay, but let's okay, we're not going to put it at 8. So,
No,
let's just we've already kind of decided somewhere in the top 3, but you might not like where I have Wayne's World cuz that's where I have Wayne's World. I have Wayne's World at 8. And I even
well, I had it 6.
oh shit, okay. I mean, I even
Yep.
wrote in my notes as I was ranking, I'm like, it's quotable as hell. It's got some great memorable scenes, so it could go higher. I'm not saying it has to be. Uh, I'm not dead set on putting it at 8. If you had it at 6, you know, usually we split the difference in most cases. But
Yeah. So I
but
mean, we'll put Wayne at 7.
okay, okay,
Okay. And then I'm just gonna write. So for those who don't know, I always write down this final here while we're jibber jabbering, so we don't even get lost in ourselves. I'm gonna
which
write
we
Major League kind of off to the side as to yet to be determined, because you did talk to me. I mean, you and I, that is one of our favorites, and it does kind of play into the sports movie aspect. Um, Major or Wayne's World, though, for me, is just, I mean, it's incredibly quotable. Every time I look up at the screen here, it's something. I mean, the cream of Sun Young guy just came across, and it's things like that. And then earlier, I kind of mentioned I don't own a gun, let alone multiple guns that would necessitate an entire rack. And it just, I mean, on and on. And the way they break the fourth wall almost immediately, the Bohemian Rhapsody bit.
I was just gonna say that, dude. You almost can't listen to Bohemian Rhapsody without thinking of Wayne's World,
Oh, I
or
definitely can't,
yeah,
or vice versa, right?
correct.
And then I don't know if we had already been starting to pod, but when Ed O'Neill comes in and just the first line is, "I'd never done a crazy thing in my life before that night." And he's just so serious right into it. And why is it when you kill a man in battle, it's heroic, but you kill a man in the heat of passion, it's murder? Then Mike Myers comes, he's like, "Hey, what are you doing? Only Garth and I get to talk to the camera." Like, and I
Oh
think the
man,
whole, Rob Lowe shtick throughout the whole thing, how he's just kind of a pompous ass, and it's got cameos, from Tommy Boy or Chris Farley and God, I can't think of his name, but the Terminator guy shows up. Terminator 2 guy
no,
shows up in it at
Robert
one point.
Patrick. Oh yeah, I wrote that down in my notes. The freaking
Yeah, Robert Patrick
the
reprises his
T-1000
role as
cameo.
Terminator
Yeah.
2. The T-1000 comes in. Have you seen this boy? And then it's again more of a. It does have more of a storyline, I guess, if you want to call it that. But Mike and Tia, their little torrid love affair, and I love
Yeah.
all of her songs that she sings. They're great. Again, they're not funny. This is a comedy pod. But being derived from SNL, and it's just, I mean, I have so many quotes written down here. Game off. Like how many times?
Yeah.
If we were playing in the street, we were playing basketball in the street as kids or something. It's like we would say that constantly, and no stairway. denied. And then I
No,
say "excuse me" and baking powder so often, and
I
I've,
remember
I've
hearing
had a
that a
lot of
lot.
employees. Yeah, I had a lot of employees who were much younger than me in my day, and they'd say something. I'd be like, "Excuse me, baking powder," and they're like,
They just
"What are
don't
you
get
fucking saying?" It's like, yeah, they just don't even get the reference. But like I said, I had it at 6, I think here. So yeah, at 7, that works for me.
it. Okay, okay. Now, what did you have
Party
at 7?
time, party on. Well,
Oh,
again, I made so many different, and I kind of started writing over the things, and I got arrows pointing to each. I should have just ripped off the page and started a new page, honestly. But I had Tommy Boy 6.
okay. I had it up at 4. And
Okay, so falling
my
right in the
the
middle
main
there.
yeah, I mean the main reason I put Tommy Boy is because it's probably the most emotionally driven.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, with his pops dying and shit. I always kind of and it's still funny. It's not just more. It's not really necessarily more serious because just watching that freaking the very one of the beginning scenes when that crane's coming down, he like jukes around it. I'm like, dude, I totally would fucking do that. Dude.
Yeah,
Like
oh,
Tommy's like the
definitely.
inner child of everyone. So
And then he
like,
lets
yeah,
it hit his head like slowly, and he's like, "Urgh." A lot of people take 7 years to become or a lot of people take 7 years to graduate. Yeah, they're called
yeah,
doctors.
yeah, they're called doctors. Herbie Hancock. That's something that gets quoted a lot still.
Yeah,
Herbie.
that's a good one. Anytime anybody even says anything Hancock, it's Herbie Hancock. And the
Oh shit.
whole I could get a good look at a T, but no.
Well, one of the things I wrote down on my notes was like, I mean, Tommy would be a great dude to work with, I guess, but as long as he wasn't your boss, like that's when I think
Yeah.
you would be like frustrated working with him. Like if you were on the floor
Or
working with
the
him, it'd be a fucking riot. But as soon as he like made that management step, it'd be like, oh
Mhm.
shit, we're fucked. But
And the one thing Roger said in his review is, they take so many cliches, and the only idea that they had that was new, and he said it ultimately is a bad one, is he makes kind of his nemesis in the movie in the beginning his best friend at the end, and how
yeah,
he's his underling, but also he was smarter than him, and starts giving him a bunch of shit right away, and then ultimately they become best friends. I enjoy it about that. I enjoy that
me
aspect of
too.
the movie
Me
because it is funny.
Yeah, and
And then
he's
just quotes like the "What'd you do?"
well, they're all out. Better go to the next station.
Yeah, yeah. And fat guy little quote, fat guy little coat is something that I think I've quoted a ton in my life. Just anytime I put on a coat that's smaller than what I
Of
am, it's
course,
just
yeah, yeah.
right in your head. It's just right in the zeitgeist. Fat guy little coat, fat guy
Oh,
little coat.
oh, damn it, Tommy! Don't pull the freaking weight room thing. You know where the weight room is? I'll check
Yeah,
it.
exactly.
Well, I know Richard is like the unlikable dude, kind of next to Rob
Hmm.
Lowe, but he's the guy that idolized his boss, Chris Farley's dad, and shit. And he kind of probably felt like he was a little passed over. And plus, I think
Oh yeah,
Richard, I
definitely.
think
And I
Tommy
think
got him.
that's part of the cliche, that Roger was talking about. But
Yeah.
this also, this movie also has a lot of nostalgia for me.
hmm I remember
It was
watching
one of
on the
the
USA
one of the
Network. Yeah.
yeah, like one of the first comedy movies I remember watching as a kid, where my parents were okay with me kind of watching more of an adult comedy, because it is. I mean, I think it's PG-13. The real only, I don't even think there's any sex in it. The most sexual thing is when he's jacking off, and
Yeah.
Tommy catches him. And he's like, "Were you watching Spankravision?"
Well, and when Bo Derek comes out of the pool, which is pretty hot,
Well,
actually.
yeah,
She
that's
looks
just
great.
sexualizing her. But
That's true. Yeah.
yeah, I mean, and they don't ever say the word fuck. They don't use any of the more vulgar. His little catchphrase. Holy shnikes instead of holy shit. Like
Yeah.
it's a good. I don't know if it's a family movie, but it's a good wholesome movie. It doesn't take things too far over the line.
Yeah, it is. No, yeah, you're
Yeah, see,
right.
this
You're
is
right.
this part of the pod where you and I discuss, and I'm like, yeah, I should have had that a little higher, to be honest.
Well, shit. I mean, well, shit. Where should we put it then? 'Cause, I mean, I had it at
Wait, so you
4.
had yeah, and I had it at 6. So I mean, I would be happy with it at 4. We could do that. I'm fine.
Oh, nice. Okay. Okay.
Just agree with you completely. Okay, and that's one of the joys of doing this pod with you, Zach, is I think I know something about a movie. I think I have it nailed down, and then we discuss it. I'm like, "Hi, all right, it was a little better."
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's yeah.
So that leaves 5 and 6 open. Then, what'd you have for 5 and 6?
Uh, well, can I go back? I had 4-year-old virgin at 7. Just to go back a little further. I don't know where did you have that one?
I actually had that as my number one.
Oh no shit! Damn! Look
Yeah,
at the big brain on Brad. That doesn't.
on
That's not part
Brad.
of, not a part
It's
of
just
this pod. Yeah, sorry.
again, it's so fucking hilarious. I
It
mean,
is, dude. It is.
I remember watching that for the first time. I was on a date with an older woman, and she thought it was fucking.
Why?
I think I
Hello,
was.
hello.
I know. I think I was like 17 or 18 when it came out, and I was on a date with like a 30-year-old woman that I had worked with at the retirement center that I was working
Oh
at. She was a nurse.
shit, man! I honestly think I
I
think I
know.
remember you telling me that story, dude. Oh, I
And
don't
I
remember
mean, we
much
just
about her.
laughed, and
Yeah,
she
yeah.
thought a kick it. A lot of the times, we're in the theaters and we're sitting there, and something would happen to the Steve Carell character as a 40-year-old, and she would like look at me and like, I know some guys like that, like who were a little older. They probably weren't virgins, but did have a massive Star Wars collection, or
Yeah,
did watch Survivor with their fucking neighbors every day instead of going out and partying and whatnot. So yeah, I had that at my number one. So with you at 7, that's gonna be tough. It's gonna be
that's
tough
a
there.
yeah. I mean, I enjoyed it. I actually, spoiler alert, I kind of did it the most diplomat. The way I ranked it was as kind of as diplomatic as I could. Where I think I did every one, like every other one. I did one of yours and I did one of mine, and that's kind of how I.
Mm,
That was the simplest way to do it for me because it's like I mean it's tough,
yeah,
dude. They're all different. They're all
yeah,
yeah. So that's the way I did it, and I don't have a problem with putting 4-year-old virgin higher. You know what I mean?
and that's yeah, they're all bangers, really. Like, I mean, I would argue it at 3, with
Okay.
it being, because it was kind of the breakout. We kind of already talked about Steve Carell. He kind of broke into the comedy world. I know he was on like the
The
Jon
Daily Show and
Stewart's,
stuff.
yeah,
Yeah.
so I think he was on that a little bit. So people kind of already knew him, but for mainstream audiences, yeah, Brick Tamlin. But he played such a fucking moron in that movie, and then here it's just he played it so well too. He's so straight the whole time, and when you touch a girl's breasts and it's like a
A
bag of
bag of
sand.
bag of sand.
He's like,
Yeah.
"Wait,
Have you
what?
ever
A bag of
touched?
sand?" And then it's got Seth Rogen, it's got Jonah Hill, it's got you know cameos from so many different people. Kevin Hart, makes that little cameo, which is one of the funniest scenes in the
me?
movie. And
Yeah.
I don't
Me and
know,
Luke
I
do that
laughed so
all the
fucking
time,
hard
dude.
on that.
Yeah. Me and Luke freaking do the. Is that your boy? And then we go.
Yeah,
We do the hand thing all the freaking time and shit.
we fuck dwarves in the ass.
It's like, you ever heard of the rolling 20s, man? And then
And
Steve
then
Carell just walks up and, can I help you, sir?
yeah, and then another one with him is when Romany's wife comes up, it's like, "Oh yeah, my girlfriend found your speed
Under
dating
speed
card."
dating.
He's like, "You really talk like this? Fuck
You're
yeah!
gonna meet a
How
woman.
did you get my inquisition?" Like,
Well, and something I noted, I mean, we'll see what you say about this, but like, I think Judd Apatow kind of realized as I don't know, as he got older, that the closer friends are, the more shit they talk to each other. And I think I
yeah,
don't know if this is the first movie that shows that, but like, you have these buddies that you have, but yet you're just constantly giving them shit and constantly dissing them and stuff like that.
yeah,
I don't know if that's just an Apatow touch. Is that something that because I mean you can watch Old School came out in what like '03, and they joke around I
somewhere
guess,
around
but
there.
they don't. Yeah, yeah, but they don't. I think this was one of those you got to watch almost true friendships, I
Yeah,
guess.
they don't bust each other's balls like this, you know. And again, like we were saying when you introduced it, I think it's the most complete put together movie on the list.
Yeah, yeah,
I mean, it does have a real storyline between Catherine Keener, and that's even yeah, obviously it's tied into the whole premise of the film where he's a 40-year-old virgin, but they really do spend a lot of time on that. And then different from Major League in that, it's still fucking funny. They
yeah.
have a lot of interactions between the two of them, especially Jonah Hill's cameo, because I just want to give you money and I want to take these home and wear them. Like,
And
what the fuck?
after Steve Carell asks her out, he's like, "Congratulations."
Yeah, congratulations. And then she walks into the store, and it's like in the very first scene that they meet, it's like actually all of these are going to be obsolete in like
6 months,
2 years.
maybe.
So really, neither of the yeah 6 months. It's like
6 months tops.
so what should I buy? And he's like, actually none of it. Like
Yeah. Hey,
so
dude, Andy.
I found it hilarious. And again, it's got that nostalgia.
Oh, dude, yeah. This was me and Ikers. You and I had Maverick. This was me and Ikers.
Hmm.
We used to watch this every time I came home up until like 2010 or something. It was, and we always took time out right before I left to freaking shoot the shit and watch 4-Year-Old Virgin.
Yeah,
But
fucking classic. It's hilarious. So I want to put it at 3.
that's cool. Yeah, yeah.
Okay, okay, 40-year-old at 3. So going back to yours, you had 40-year-old virgin at 7. What'd you have at 6?
I had Monty Python, so we already took care of
Oh,
that
that's
one.
right. Yeah, we already took care of that one there. So my 5, again, this has gone back and forth, but I had Maverick at 5.
Okay, okay. I had Maverick a little bit higher, but
Well,
I mean,
again,
let's.
it started up at like 2, and then
That's where I had it, dude. I had it at
yeah,
2.
I mean, it's hard to argue with that, man. It's one of our go-tos. It's fucking hilarious. It's
When you think about it, you and I are probably the only people that quote it. Really, I mean, not that many. If you ask people about Maverick, they probably don't even know what the hell you're talking about. But when
yeah,
you,
they'd be like, "Oh, it's that Mel Gibson western, right?"
yeah, yeah, that's probably the
That's
best
probably
way
what
to
they
get
would say.
out of it. Yeah, but and uh, again, having it high could be biased, but there was like multiple Oscar winners involved, like even in front of and behind the camera. You had Goldman
Yeah.
write the script.
Yeah,
It's
he
still,
wrote the damn thing. Yeah.
yeah. I
It's
mean, I think
hilarious. And there's
on paper it's a home run, and it did well financially, and even Roger Ebert liked it. And normally, that's where it's like, man,
yeah.
it's not really us. It just like
If you can get
maybe,
Roger on board.
yeah, yeah. And God, where was I going to go with
And I
this?
mean it's just and then there's also the parallels of all the 50s um TV show into it. And I have wrote in here just so many quotes. That's what I have because I started writing them down with you and I quoting it all the time.
Yeah.
And even misquotes like Joseph, like it's just,
Oh man.
and it
Oh
also plays into the cliche of pretty much every poker movie that's ever
yeah.
been filmed and released. It's
Well,
the
oh
last
shit.
hand that they have is just an impossible. There is no way like four different poker players or 3 different poker players, I guess, because Jodie Foster's character's already out by then. But they all have fantastic hands, and it's like, yeah, it's kind of crazy, but that like rings true to the cliche poker movies.
Yeah, yeah. And I can't remember. I don't know if Dad watched it with us one time, but he was pointing out like cameos from old west people from the old
Yep,
westerns. Like yeah,
yep.
and
That's
and
another
then you
part of the research I found too.
yeah, and you had like Waylon Jennings show up, and that he was the one that was like, no, that's my gun. Oh, and his
Yeah, like,
wife's like
oh,
all
that's your gun?
happy.
Oh no, that's
Oh,
hers. Like, well, do you swim?
I'm just carrying it for her. As soon as he says, "Do you swim?"
Damn it, Coop! Everybody's got a gun.
Oh, and one of the I just this one just popped into my mind when Jodie Foster loses, like because you mentioning her getting losing her hand when she was like,
Hmm?
you held
I
your
didn't flick
breath.
my teeth. I didn't play with my hair. And then she looks around. Well, did I? And
Yeah,
yeah, you did.
they
And even
all
Alfred Molina's like just shaking his head.
the
And then
dealer
even
too was like,
funnier when she gets back to James Garner, the first thing he says to her is, "You did
you.
hold your breath, Mrs. Bradford." Yeah.
Oh, you're all right,
Oh,
Bart.
and it's so yeah, he gets called Brett, Bart, Bert, like throughout the entire movie, and then it starts off with one of the first lines. As soon as I laid eyes on this guy, I smelled trouble and refried beans. Like
Well, I
just
mean,
little
and
stupid shit like that just makes me laugh.
even that, the opening sequence is he's hanging by a rope, and if this was like, you could easily see that in
Yeah,
a dramatic western, you know what I mean? And
yeah,
well,
and I always love a good movie. I love a good movie where they start the movie at the end or in the middle of it, and then they kind of backtrack to, well, let's talk about how we got here.
yeah,
So
yeah.
that's
It's
just as
just
good
been a
movie
shitty week
making
for me from
in
the
my
beginning.
eyes. And then you and I always have a ton of, whose fault was that? Yours, you bastard. And then the $17. $17? You owe me eight
Yeah,
dollars for a
dude,
month.
that's William Goldman, man. That's freaking, yeah. That's what makes it golden. I think that's what makes it works, especially for us. But also
Yep.
when the Russian walks out and he waves like hi, and Joseph turns around, big asshole.
Big asshole. What was that all about? Tell me later. Yeah, tell me later. Tell me later. I mean, almost every line from Joseph is
Or
fucking
yeah,
all right on.
yeah. No, tell me later. Oh yeah, and he's been in like some
But then,
serious like Indian films too, and that's why it's always kind of weird to see him like get executed in the Green Mile and shit. Where I always remember
yep.
him from Joseph. Yeah, tell
And
me about
then
it.
and it's great, at the end with not only the triple cross, but then the father son reveal. And
Yeah,
if
yeah,
you're
that's true.
fans, if you were a fan of the '50s and you knew, he was actually Maverick, then maybe you would have noticed, a little stuff that they kind of put in there to kind of hint at, their father son. But rewatching, obviously, I knew it was coming, and honestly, I can't. I mean, I'm sure at the first time I ever watched it, I didn't know, I didn't pick up on the little hints. Now I always see them, and he's like, "Clean up your mess," and just saying little things like a dad would say to his son. But real quick, I want to ask, and kind of a serious part about the movie. Well, not about the movie, but watching it now, I'm sitting there thinking at the end, like Zane Cooper is a respected lawman, where actually, people know him, and he's and then he's gonna throw his entire reputation away for $500,000, for $250,000 that he's gonna split with his son.
Yeah, I don't.
I
I
mean,
mean, a quarter million
again, it's
dollars
it's the
back in
old
the
west, so
yeah,
yeah, and like the old west, you're not going to be on TV. It's not going to be. And then he didn't put out. He's not going to press charges. He said, when the Commodore goes to shoot him. So, but then word would spread. It's like, hey, that Zane Cooper Marshall? Yeah, he stole a bunch of money and he's an
yeah. I don't.
asshole. And you know what I mean? So I put that in the notes, and it
Yeah.
was just interesting. Not that that takes away from the movie or even the comedic aspect of the movie, but watching it
Well,
again, I just thought, wow, he just threw his entire reputation away.
the only thing I could think of is with the Commodore approaching him, was it's, I mean, I'm sure
Yeah,
undercover work wasn't that well known back then, but in the end,
sure.
Brett did win the money. So in the end,
Yeah, it's
he
true.
did take the money and give it most of it to Brett. So I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, I guess, but yeah,
So I mean, and that might play into the fact that it should be higher up on my list because it is phenomenal.
yeah,
You had it at two.
I did have it at two. Yeah, Deuce. Yeah, took a Deuce. But
Well, I mean, that just leaves. So if we put Major League at one, Maverick at two, that just leaves another one of our favorite movies, and then one of the funnier movies on this list,
it's Tropic Thunder.
Tropic Thunder. So I mean, we either have to put Get Shorty at six, or Tropic Thunder has 6, and that just feels too low for Tropic Thunder, to be honest.
Yeah, I agree because I had Get Shorty at 5. So
Okay. All right, we'll
which
get Shorty at 6, which breaks my heart, but
dude, and this was one of those I knew we would get to it, obviously, but Get Shorty's another one of similar to Maverick. I kept thinking because maybe the low IMDb score that maybe it was just us, maybe it's just our sense of humor, and we as soon as we watched it with each other, it was like, oh my god, this shit's fucking funny. And it's like we reassured each other, but actually, I got more reassurance
so
doing the research
so fucking
because
funny.
yeah, well, not only is it funny, but who, look at how Elmore Leonard's a very well known noir novelist. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
With the humor and the crime and all that good shit. But and they kept most of the dialogue in, like I said earlier. And Barry Sonnenfeld did a good job acting. But look who carried it for the cast. You know what I mean? It's a legitimately funny movie. And
fucking Gene Hackman.
yeah, Gene, yeah, the big Gene, man, and he freaking it did well in the box office and made twice as much of its budget, which like 75 million in the US back in 95 was a lot. I mean, it wasn't a shitload of money, but I mean,
Yeah.
worldwide it grossed over like 120 million. So I mean, it did well financially, it did really well critically too. So that was kind of like the more research I did on it, it's like, dude, this isn't us. It's actually a legit movie. It's a really good movie. It's fucking funny.
Hmm.
So
It
I
is,
mean, yeah, we're the
and
only
it
people
also
that
spawned
really, but
it spawned a sequel, which wasn't as good, but
it was funny though. It
yeah, it's
wasn't as
funny.
well made, but it was funny, dude. It's probably the best acting The Rock ever did was in that movie when he played the.
Yeah.
It's pretty
So I
funny.
mean, honestly, I honestly think we should swap Tommy Boy and Get Shorty.
Oh, okay, I'm good with that. Yeah,
Tommy at 6, Shorty at 4.
yeah, that would be fine.
And then the only movie we haven't. I mean, Get Shorty. Yeah, that's another one you and I quote a lot. We didn't really spend too much time on it. I mean, yeah, you've gone through kind of the reasons and the people that were involved in it. It's phenomenal.
Yeah,
And
it's
yeah, it's one that you and I quote a lot. Like, you're gonna love this guy, another fucking moron.
oh, this is
Zim
my
don't ask
friend
for dick.
Chili Palmer.
Yeah,
Just don't introduce
just
me
don't
whatever
tell him who
you
I am,
do. This
and
is what he
don't
said.
mention Mr. Lovejoy. I couldn't believe my fucking ears.
A part,
Now
a
you're
part of
saying
what
have a
makes
piece of Mr. Lovejoy.
the part of it what makes it great is how it shows how irritable people get over certain things
Yeah,
from what other people say. Like they say the fucking smog is the fucking reason we have such beautiful fucking
fucking
sunsets.
suns. I'm from fucking Miami Beach, dickhead. You don't think I know about beaches? Like,
Oh,
I
dude,
show me the sunset.
the one I was gonna send you out of the blue that I knew you would have got. I was gonna say, you're the dumbest fuck I ever met in my life.
Yeah,
He's got the gun pointed at Chili Palmer's like, that's all. That's the first thing he says to him. You're the dumbest fuck I ever met in my life. Oh shit, dude.
EGIE.
Fuck.
I say jump, you say how fucking high. I say jump, you say okay.
Oh
It's
shit,
fucking
dude.
ridiculous.
It's not us. I'm telling you, it's not us. It
No,
doesn't.
no,
It got
it's still
lost
good.
somewhere. I mean, I don't know
Yeah.
how big of a year
Well, it's not
'95.
really it's not really slapsticky.
Right, right.
You know, it's not. It is a little satirical in the sense of Hollywood and gangsters, but it's not like over the top satirical where they're just blatantly making fun of everything and every line is a joke. But it's kind of right in that meaty part, right in the middle of everything, where
Yeah,
you're not going to sit there and get laugh out loud laughs because they're saying fuck every other word, kind of like in 40-Year-Old Virgin and Anchorman. But it's all. I mean, if you pay attention, it's fucking hilarious. Like, Zim don't
it
ask for
is.
dick. It's Ray
Yeah.
Barbone, not Barbone. Like, and even little like that line, you and I think are hilarious, but if
Yeah.
someone else is watching it, they probably wouldn't even think that part's funny. Like,
Well, and then when Escobar shows up. Even like that scene is like, man, I just want my fucking
Oh,
money. But then he goes, we're going to be
what
in
about your
LA for a
cousin?
while. Check out that Mayfi
What,
Spectacular. And he's like, oh, that's nice.
and then at the very end, he's like, "No, what about your nephew?" Oh yeah,
Yeah, and Yayo
it's like
too.
he's there for his money, and he's like, "Oh yeah, also my nephew.
Yeah, his
He's not too
bodyguard
bright."
has to remind him. And Yayo,
Yeah, I'm walking around all day at the airport looking at people's fucking
people's
bulges.
bullshit. Dude, fuck. Oh man, I hope we don't lose whoever might be listening to this. I hope we don't, because again, Get
From
Shorty
all
isn't
these
that
quotes.
popular a movie. We're like fucking crying,
No.
laughing, quoting it, and we're like,
Well, I mean, if
hopefully
people
they
who are
fucking watch
listening,
it. Yeah,
if people who do listen to us and listen all the way through, it's the closing of our fucking podcast.
yeah, yeah,
Like a line from that movie is the closing of our podcast.
yeah.
So
Fuck.
that's a wrap. Fuck. Come
Fuck. And
back
rest in peace.
tomorrow.
Hey, Dennis. Yeah, Farina
Yeah.
and Hackman are both gone, man. They're both gone,
Yeah,
dude.
exactly. So, and I think even 4 seems a little low, but again, now that I mean, I think I had it at 5. So, I mean, but now we're talking about it. Like, yeah, I mean, that needs to be higher. But then that just, the last movie that's going to round out our 20 through 11 is Tropic Thunder, right there in the
Yeah,
middle at 5.
which I had it at 3. So
Yeah, I had it at 2. So how
damn,
can
man.
we have it
Well,
at 5? Can't.
yeah, I don't know.
I mean, yeah, I had it at 2. It's fucking hilarious, man.
It
Every
is.
time I
It
watch
is.
it, it's just so funny. I mean, Tom Cruise. I think the first time I ever watched the movie, I did not even realize it was Tom Cruise until the credits.
And like that shit was all his idea too. Like
Yeah,
he was the one that wanted the bald hair, and he said, I would like to
yeah.
dance if I can."
And the ending is great when he just starts dancing, and him and Hader have such a great relationship
They
there, and
do,
he's like,
man.
"Smack that ass, Les." Where's the key grip?
Yeah,
No,
I want you to
I want you to
fucking.
punch that guy in the face. I want you to punch that guy in the fucking face as hard as. And then the guy walks out. He's like, "Sorry,
Sorry.
man." He punches him, and they go back to Tom Cruise. He's like, "Oh yeah, like."
Because what is? Oh yeah, because he's when Grossman or whatever's talking to the drug lords, and he just goes, "Go fuck yourself."
Oh yeah, and lastly, go fuck yourselves. We do not negotiate with terrorists. And then everybody like starts clapping.
And even McConaughey, man, like I'm telling you, it's
Yeah,
just,
I
oh
know.
man,
And I mean, the whole thing. Again, part of the reason that you said earlier it got a lot of criticism for, and probably wouldn't be made nowadays, is the blackface. But I don't break character to the DVD commentary, like shit like that. It's just so fucking funny, man. And in the Jack Black's entire character, which I think is probably my least favorite part of the movie.
yeah, but he's got his moments, dude. When they're walking, it's like, oh my fuck, dude, it is fucking freezing out here.
Yeah. Oh,
Do
do
you
you
need
want
a
my
blanket?
jacket? Are you kidding me? I'm sweating. It's so hot.
Are you kidding me?
And
It's
then,
boiling out
it's my jelly beans. It's my jelly beans.
here.
Well, I mean, the fact that I had it at 2 and you had it at 3,
It
it
should
seems
probably be higher,
it
dude.
seems criminal that we have it at 5. And the only thing we could push it around would be Get Shorty, right? Or put Maverick or Major League lower.
Dude, that's
I know we said this would probably be one of the easiest ones, but honestly, at the end, and again for our listeners, if Zach has it at 2 and I have it at 6, we normally say
yeah.
okay, something's
There's
at 4, right? That's
yeah.
easy peasy. But if you had it at 3 and I had it at 2, how can we justify dropping it down
Yeah,
5?
I would honestly say because it's actually a very well made movie. Because even
Mm-hmm.
Robert Downey Jr. said on the Joe Rogan podcast, "It's like, oh yeah, we had a great time, but man, behind the scenes, Ben Stiller was. It was like he goes, I imagine it was like working with David Lean and Lawrence of Arabia, and it's actually like I said, it's a well shot. I mean, it's I think it took it relatively serious when he was putting it together, and he, you know, yeah, I think it's overall, believe it or not, when you put that much effort into creating, even though it was a parody comedy, yeah, I'd probably swipe it out with Get Shorty, actually.
Well, here's what I'm proposing then.
Okay,
We
compromise. I like
do.
that proposition. Good.
I
Good.
say we do Tropic Thunder at 3, 40-Year-Old Virgin at 4, and Get Shorty at 5.
Okay. I think that's reasonable. Because, I mean, I had Get Shorty at 5 anyways, and I know this isn't a competition about who gets what
No,
right.
I know. Because, yeah, I'm taking kind of a hit on this one.
Yeah.
You got the top 2. But again, it's top 2 movies that we fucking enjoy so much. It's hard for me to argue about it, right? Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
how can I put Maverick any lower than what it is? It's one of the funnier movies that I enjoy watching time and time again.
No, we just suggest
All right,
everybody
so we're
who's,
coming.
if somebody's, yeah, give it a rewatch. I mean, hopefully maybe we might influence them to think a little bit, maybe it,
Yeah, well,
maybe it,
and I hope that I hope that works. I hope that works for most of our movies. Just for note taking purposes. What did you have at 4, 6, and 8?
I had Tommy Boy at 4. I had Monty Python at 6, but again, I put it
Okay.
that high, as I mentioned, more on reputation than I
Yep.
did because I thought it was the sixth best movie. And I kind of thought
And
you
then
might
8.
have, I was kind of predicting maybe a split the difference situation too.
Yeah.
So
And then
uh,
8.
I had Wayne's
8.
World
You
at
had
8.
Wayne's World then.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Yes. For those who don't know, I always write down Zach's 10 and my final 10 here, and then final. So each page that I have that we kind of go over the finality of our rankings. I always have the two of us where we each add them. That way, if we want to go back and redebate someday, we have what we had.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Well, we're coming up on an hour 20 here, so I think we should probably wrap this up here.
Yeah.
Wrap.
Do your thing,
That's a
Jaaron.
wrap.
Come back tomorrow. Fuck.
Fuck. Okay, so for our listeners, again, this was honestly probably we changed our final several times. So listening at home, I'm sure you're about as lost as a puppy in the wilderness here. So at 10, we had Some Like It Hot. 9, Monty Python and the Holy Grail. 8, Anchorman. 7, Wayne's World. Tommy Boy coming out at 6, with Get Shorty finally finding its place at number 5. 40-Year-Old Virgin at 4. Tropic Thunder, satirical genius madness movie at 3. And the top 2, Maverick at 2 and Major League at number 1. I'm sure we'll hear plenty about that if and when people listen to this, and
Yeah.
maybe we'll hear a lot of reasons why that shouldn't be, but for the sake of the pod, Zach and I's podcast, Zach and I's comedic sense of
Come on.
humor. Jesus,
Click, click.
it's like I've been talking for an hour and 20 minutes or something. This is our final pod, so it's our podcast, it's our list. If you don't like it, make your own podcast.
Well, yeah. And hey, if you don't feel free to drop your top 10 in the comments, man. We got no queries on that.
Yeah. And as always, we look forward to hearing that. So drop us a like and a follow on Facebook, Instagram, and Spotify. And once this is uploaded, I expect our inboxes to be full and our comment sections to have quite a debate on it.
Yeah, yeah.
And then teaser for the next pod that we'll be releasing is going to be the top 10 comedy movies that we have written down and we will be discussing. So if you want to hear and argue about what we had in our top 10, tune in next time. And for Zach and myself, this has been another edition of the Average Jives. Give us a follow on all the social media that you follow.
Yeah.
Zach, say hi or bye.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, you mama make me happy. Love you, buddy.
All right. Love you, buddy. Until next time.
Rap. It's a wrap. Come back tomorrow.
Harry, huh?
Fuck.